Right, we're back at the big block of flats that we bought last January. Haven't been here for a long time. Do you remember that this was the property that had all of the scaffolding on the outside? We had the gas leak here, we had the heating problems, and we got to the bottom of all of it. We spent a lot of money here, and we've kind of just left it now, just to let the tenants live in peace. But I've come back today just to do a quick inspection because there's some reports that some plaster's fallen off inside the main foyer. And I'll show you around, I'll give you a little bit of a tour if you haven't seen it, and I'll tell you about how much we paid for it, how we financed it as we do the video. So let's go and have a look. So the first thing I want to point out before anybody says in the comments, all of that white down there, that was from a leaking drain pipe that we had replaced, and it's just drying out now. So you can see it's no longer wet. The salt's coming out of the bricks because it's drying. So that's been fixed. So that's a big thumbs up. So what I'll do, when we go around the outside, I'll give you a little bit of a lowdown on the finances of this property. I don't want to do it inside because it's fully occupied at the moment. Right, come on in. Okay, so it has been started. So what's happened in here, it sounds a little bit echoey, but because of that leak on the side of the wall, it's come down here and it's forced the plaster off. So the plaster's been chipped off, as you can see. We've got plasterboard on it now, that I wasn't aware of, and it just needs skimming over and then repainted. And it's also come off here as well, you can see. So that also needs to be treated and painted there as well. That's on a different side of the wall actually. I need to look outside there just to see what's causing that. And then we need to get this internal area painted. This is because tenants keep, look, that's from bikes. Push bikes coming in and out. And this is from tenants kicking the door rather than using their hands. But yeah, so that's a work in progress. I can see that that's ongoing. Look at these windows. Really nice. Imagine coming home and looking at those windows after a stressful day. So this is the old vicarage. It used to be a vicarage many, many years ago. So again, the problem is with this is, first of all, this is an escape route, and we're not allowed to have bikes here because of a fire risk. But it also causes damage across the walls because now we have to paint it because of the tyres scuffing up against the walls, etc. Just checking everything else is okay. So just checking whilst I'm here that the alarms are up to date. So they were tested on the 2nd of April, which is about 2 weeks ago. So that's absolutely banged up to date. Just have a quick look around in the communal areas. So making sure everything's all right. So that's been scraped. It looks like someone has scraped it by perhaps moving furniture into this room. So that looks going to need touching up as well. Always something. Quite an easy touch up there, that is, to be fair. Right, it's coming upstairs. The radiator's on warm, it's not hot, but radiator's on and the window is open. You have to have the patience of a saint, honestly, you really do. It's tidy enough in there, nice and clean. Nice and clean in there. Yeah, it's tidy. Nice and tidy on this floor. Okay, right, let's pop outside and do a little tour. So there's a couple of bits of touching up that needs to be done. On the whole, generally speaking, it's okay. We do need to address this bike situation because it is causing damage now across the wall. Let's have a look in this little shower room. It's tidy enough. The paint's bubbled up in the corner there for some reason. It's odd. A little bit of bubbling on the paint in the corner. Okay, let's come outside and we'll talk about the financials. So let's go for a little walk around the main building. I'll show you. So this property's got 13 flats. Most of them are self-contained. Some of them do have shared bathrooms, and it does have a HMO license. So we bought this, not the January just gone, but the January before. We paid £750,000 for it. We've probably spent on the best part of £100,000 so far by putting scaffolding up. We had to completely do the roof. We've had to put new guttering up. We've had to decorate several of the flats because they weren't habitable. So it's been a lot of ongoing work. We're probably going to refinance this in about maybe 6 to 8 months time and try and get the money that we've invested in it back out. I think we put, it cost us in total about 300,000 of our own money to put into the property, but we are in with a joint venture partner on this property, so everything is 50-50. And I think it's, you know, I mean, if you look at the views, if you pan around, we've got loads of parking. We've got enough parking here for everybody that lives here. We've got this park, and we've got the car park on the other side as well. We've also got this serviced accommodation unit here that is really popular and really busy. I'm not sure if there's anybody in there, is there? Yeah, there is. Okay. We've got the washroom here. This is always a bone of contention when we talk about the washroom. Oh, it's locked. Can't get in there. But yeah, that's like a little laundrette that people can use if they choose to, and of course for the serviced accommodation unit. All of the gardens here are maintained. Every 2 weeks we have a gardener that comes out and does all of the hedges, does all of the gardening, does all of the weeding. It's a really, really good job as well. Watch where you're walking, George, because I can see some dog mess. Yeah, one of the things that we talk about a lot in rented properties is, do we allow pets? One of the reasons that we don't is that people don't clean up after themselves and they just leave it for everybody else. One of my case in points. Okay, so I think the garden's due for a little bit of a mow. So whilst we're down here, we're going to go into the boiler room. This is the room that we had a load of problems with. Watch your head as you come in, George. We had a massive problem here towards the beginning part of this year. Come on in, I'll talk about it. So we used to, for those of you that have watched this video before, or not this video, but a similar video, this was the old boiler, a commercial boiler that over the years has been bodged and pieces have been fitted to it, etc. When we bought the property, it had a gas safety certificate. It was passed, it was a new one. When we turned the boiler off last year and tried to turn it back on in the winter time, the boiler didn't work, it was failing and it was freezing cold inside the house. So we had a boiler engineer come out, we got it going, but it was condemned because it was leaking. So we switched it off and we've cut all the pipes. And instead, we've fitted these little 2 domestic boilers, and they run side by side. So if one goes down, the other one can carry on. And these work absolutely perfectly. And I noticed that they've been cranked all the way back up again. They don't need to be that hot. You know, it's not cold at the moment. It's not freezing cold. It doesn't need to be that hot. So those need to be turned down. They've got the controls inside the house to be able to control the heating. And we've got some thermostats coming. Those are little units that allow us to be able to be a little bit more rigid when it comes to controlling the bills, because otherwise the bills just overtake. At the moment, we're paying about £850 a month here for gas and electric. It's a lot of money. Watch your head as you come out. So all of the bills are inclusive here. None of the gas, not all of the bills, sorry. The gas is inclusive. The electric, the tenants pay for themselves. Right. Yeah, so in the last year, towards the end of the year, we had a gas leak and Cadent had to come out and cap the gas off. So we got that fixed in about 2 or 3 days. So this is the top car park as well, look. So they've got loads of parking here, loads of outdoor space, beautiful views, and a really cracking property. So what does it cash flow? I'd have to check, if I'm completely honest with you. We've got 13 flats here. They all pay between $550 and $750 a month, depending on the size of the flat. So I'll do an updated video on the cash flow and the return on investment. But yeah, it's a property that hopefully will see us right, you know, for many, many years to come. Right, we're going to go over now to one of the new properties that we've just purchased. We haven't got the keys for it yet because they're still with the agent. We haven't completed, but we're in the throes of going through conveyancing. So it's only about 2 streets away. So let's go and have a look at that one. Right, we're at the newest property. Now, not the new one, but the newest one, because we've bought 2 properties over the last 6 weeks or so. And this is the latest one. Now, this is going to be, well, at the moment, it's a 3-bedroom, semi-detached house. It's quite spacious inside. I can't take you in, sadly, because I don't have the keys, and at the moment we're going through conveyancing, but it is really dated. Now you can tell from the front of the house how old the property actually is, and it's not been decorated since around about 1975, I would say, looking at what I've seen on the inside. So our plans for this, don't quite know yet. We're going to rip it out, we're going to start again. We might turn it into a nice family let, we might turn it into a HMO, we just don't know yet. But we've managed to get it at a good price. So what we do when we look for properties like this is we look for old properties that we can add value to. And if we add value, it means that we can draw our money out on the other side and go again and again and again. And that's called momentum investing. So I can't even take you around the side here, but we might be able to get around the back. So let's go and have a look, see if we can try and get around the back. It doesn't have any parking, unfortunately. And it's quite a difficult one, this one is, because it's not actually registered on land registry. So we've got a lot of work to do when it comes to conveyancing to work out where the boundary lines actually are and what it is that we're buying. It's got a huge back garden, and as you can imagine, it's completely just totally overgrown and pretty poor. So this is the rear of the property. So actually, yes, this is parking. So it has got parking. Yeah, so there is parking at the back here, but you can't get access around the side to get to the back garden. So likely there's not going to be any uplift on the land. So we've got all of this parking here. So we can probably put, parked sensibly, 3 or 4 cars here, parked sensibly. So if you spin around, George, it's quite odd because the property is obviously being extended. We don't have any building regs that we can see. We're not sure whether or not it was done with planning permission. So the paperwork is quite light at the moment, but we don't mind properties like this. You know, they're always good for added value. This is going to have to come down. That is asbestos by the look of it. So that's going to have an asbestos report and taken away. Obviously this old garage needs to be replaced. I don't know if there's anything in there. Is there anything in there? Don't know, can't see anything. And then we've got this massive overgrown garden. So you know what we could do? You know, we could take this down, we could flatten the garden and have even more car parking spaces if we needed it. I don't particularly like big gardens on rented houses because it's just a big problem. They tend to get left and they tend to get forgotten about, which means that they end up like this. So preferably speaking, I think for this it would be flatten completely and put some patio slabs down and just slab all of it. Maybe have a small little piece of a garden area for a barbecue so they can enjoy it outside, but it's got to be low maintenance. But you can have a nice outside barbecue area without having grass. You don't need grass. You know, we could patio it all and make it really smart. Anything in here? Another shed. So what are those? Are those pictures? Let's have a quick look. They look like old pictures or something. Don't know what they've been used for. Don't know. Obviously the shed is a bit rickety, that needs to come down as well. So yeah, this is it. This is our latest one. Hopefully we'll be done with this. It's going to take a bit longer than the last one. The last property that we bought, we managed to complete it in 4 weeks. This is going to take a bit longer because there are issues with the title. Once we've sorted the title out and once we've sorted all the paperwork out, we can get moving with it. So follow the journey. Let me know what you think. I'm more interested really in what you think of the garden. What would you do with the garden? I know that we're going to have a nice outdoor space, but it's got to be really sort of, you know, low maintenance, which is the big thing when it comes to investing in property. Let me know in the comments.